Have you ever found yourself singing a song without even thinking about the words? The melody is catchy. The beat is unforgettable. Everyone around you knows it. It plays in cars, stores, parties, and social media videos. But what if I told you that some songs don't just entertain your ears? They slowly shape your mind, influence your heart, and normalize ideas that can pull you away from what is good. Think about it for a moment. We are careful about what we eat because we know food affects our bodies. We are careful about who we spend time with because people influence our character. Yet many of us pay almost no attention to what we repeatedly feed our minds through music. Music is powerful. It can inspire courage, heal emotional wounds, strengthen faith, and bring people together. But it can also glorify pride, lust, violence, greed, hopelessness, and rebellion. The question isn't whether music has influence. The question is, what kind of influence is it having on you? Imagine listening to lyrics every day that celebrate selfishness, mock morality, or encourage destructive behavior. At first, you may disagree with the message. Then you become familiar with it. Soon you start repeating it. Before long, ideas that once sounded wrong begin to feel normal. This is how influence works. Not through force, but through repetition. The enemy of your soul doesn't need to destroy you overnight. He only needs to distract you little by little. One compromise at a time. One careless choice at a time. One song at a time. That's why it is important to ask yourself some honest questions. Does this music bring me closer to truth or farther away from it? Does it encourage purity, kindness, humility, and faith? Or does it celebrate everything that weakens those values? When the song ends, am I inspired to become a better person? Or am I left feeding desires and attitudes that harm my spiritual life? Many people say, it's just music. But if it's just music, why do companies spend millions creating it? Why do political movements use it? Why do advertisers depend on it? Because they understand something powerful. Music influences emotions, memories, beliefs, and behavior. Today, I challenge you to become more intentional. Don't let popularity decide what enters your heart. Don't assume that because everyone is singing something, it must be harmless. Examine the message. Think critically. Protect your mind. Choose songs that uplift rather than corrupt, strengthen rather than weaken, and inspire rather than degrade. The next time a catchy tune starts playing, don't ask, is this popular? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because every song carries a message, and the messages you repeat become the thoughts you believe, the habits you practice, and ultimately the person you become. Choose wisely. Your ears hear the music, but your heart remembers the words. Have you ever noticed how easily a song can stay in your head for hours, or even days, after hearing it only once? You may find yourself humming the melody while driving, working, studying, or walking down the street. Sometimes you can remember the lyrics of a song you heard years ago, even when you have forgotten important conversations or events from the same period. This happens because music has a unique ability to reach both the emotions and the mind. It is not merely background noise or harmless entertainment. Music has the power to influence the way we think, feel, and even behave, often without us realizing it. Every song carries a message. Some messages encourage hope, love, perseverance, gratitude, and kindness. Others promote pride, selfishness, anger, lust, materialism, or rebellion. The more often we hear a message, the more familiar it becomes. Over time, familiarity can lead to acceptance. What once seemed shocking or inappropriate can gradually begin to feel normal, simply because we have been exposed to it repeatedly. This is why the content of the music we listen to matters so much. The words we sing are not just sounds leaving our mouths, they are ideas entering our minds. Think about how advertising works. Companies spend billions of dollars repeating slogans and jingles because they understand that repetition influences people. The same principle applies to music. When a person listens to lyrics that glorify destructive attitudes day after day, those messages can slowly shape perspectives and decisions. Even if someone claims not to pay attention to the words, the brain is still processing them. Repeated exposure can affect emotions, beliefs, and priorities in subtle ways. Music also has a powerful connection to emotions. A joyful song can lift a person's mood. A sad song can bring tears. An inspiring song can motivate someone to keep going during difficult times. Because music has such a strong emotional impact, the messages contained within it often bypass our usual defenses and settle deeply in our hearts. This makes it especially important to be careful about what we allow ourselves to listen to regularly. Many people choose music based solely on popularity, rhythm, or entertainment value without considering the message behind it. However, popularity is not proof of wisdom or truth. A song can top charts around the world while still promoting harmful values. Just because millions of people sing along does not mean the message is beneficial. History has shown that crowds can embrace ideas that are wrong, and music is no exception. This does not mean we must fear music. Rather, it means we should approach it with awareness and discernment. We should ask ourselves whether a song encourages qualities that help us grow into better people, or whether it feeds attitudes that weaken our character. The music we consume becomes part of our daily mental environment, influencing our thoughts far more than we often realize. Ultimately, music is powerful because it reaches places that ordinary words sometimes cannot. It speaks to the heart, shapes the imagination, and reinforces ideas through repetition. That is why we should never underestimate its influence. The songs we listen to today can help shape the person we become tomorrow. Choosing music wisely is not about limiting joy. It is about protecting the heart and filling the mind with messages that inspire growth, wisdom, and positive character. Just because a song is popular does not mean it carries a positive message. This is one of the most important truths that many people overlook in today's world. Every day, millions of people listen to songs that dominate streaming platforms, social media trends, radio stations, and music charts. These songs are played repeatedly in stores, restaurants, gyms, and public places. Because they are everywhere, many people automatically assume that they must be harmless or even beneficial. However, popularity and truth are not the same thing. A song can be loved by millions and still promote ideas that negatively influence the minds and hearts of those who listen to it. Throughout history, people have often followed trends simply because they were popular. The fact that a large number of people support something does not automatically make it right, wise, or healthy. The same principle applies to music. Some of the most successful songs in the world contain messages that glorify pride, greed, lust, revenge, substance abuse, violence, or reckless living. These themes are often wrapped in catchy melodies and memorable hooks, making them easy to enjoy without carefully examining what is actually being said. As a result, listeners may sing along enthusiastically while unconsciously repeating messages that conflict with their values and beliefs. One of the reasons popular songs can be so influential is that they often normalize behaviors and attitudes that were once considered harmful or unacceptable. When people hear the same message repeatedly, it begins to feel familiar. Over time, familiarity can create acceptance. Lyrics that celebrate selfishness, disrespect, dishonesty, or immoral behavior may initially sound shocking, but constant exposure can make them seem ordinary. This gradual shift in perception is powerful because it changes not only what people listen to, but also how they think about life and relationships. Many artists and music producers understand the power of emotional connection. They know that a strong beat, an appealing melody, and impressive production can make listeners overlook problematic lyrics. People may become so focused on how a song sounds that they never stop to consider what it actually means. Yet words matter. The messages we repeatedly hear can influence our attitudes, shape our priorities, and affect our decisions. Music does not simply entertain, it communicates ideas. Whether we realize it or not, those ideas can leave a lasting impression. Social media has made this issue even more significant. Short clips of songs can become viral trends overnight, reaching millions of people around the world. Often, users repeat lyrics without understanding their meaning or considering the values they promote. A song can become a cultural phenomenon not because of its wisdom or positive message, but because it is catchy, controversial, or emotionally stimulating. Popularity in the digital age is frequently driven by attention rather than virtue. This does not mean that all popular music is harmful. Many successful songs inspire hope, encourage perseverance, celebrate love, and communicate positive values. The key is not to judge music solely by its popularity, but by its message. Instead of asking whether a song is trending, listeners should ask what it is teaching. Does it encourage integrity, compassion, and self-control? Or does it glorify attitudes that damage character and relationships? Ultimately, every listener has the responsibility to think critically about the music they consume. Popularity should never replace discernment. A song's place on the charts tells us how many people are listening to it, but it does not tell us whether its message is good. By paying attention to the words behind the melody, we can make wiser choices about what we allow to influence our minds and hearts. Being intentional about what you listen to is one of the most important habits you can develop in a world filled with constant noise and endless entertainment options. Every day, we are surrounded by music. It plays through our phones, headphones, cars, social media feeds, advertisements, movies, and public spaces. Because music is such a normal part of daily life, many people rarely stop to think about its influence. They simply listen to whatever is trending, whatever friends recommend, or whatever appears in their playlists. However, being intentional means making conscious choices instead of allowing outside influences to decide what enters your mind and heart. The reality is that every song carries a message. Some messages encourage hope, gratitude, perseverance, kindness, and faith. Others promote selfishness, pride, anger, materialism, immorality, or hopelessness. Whether we realize it or not, the messages we hear repeatedly can shape our attitudes and perspectives. Just as healthy food strengthens the body and unhealthy food can harm it, uplifting content can strengthen the mind while harmful content can gradually weaken it. This is why it is important to examine not only how music sounds, but also what it communicates. Many people choose music based entirely on entertainment value. If the beat is catchy and the melody is enjoyable, they assume the song is harmless. Yet a beautiful melody can carry a destructive message. Attractive packaging does not automatically make the contents beneficial. Some songs make harmful behavior seem exciting, glamorous, or normal. Others encourage listeners to focus on temporary pleasures rather than lasting values. When these messages are repeated over and over again, they can slowly influence the way people think about relationships, success, morality, and personal identity. Being intentional does not mean eliminating all enjoyment from music. In fact, it allows people to enjoy music more responsibly and meaningfully. Instead of passively consuming whatever appears in front of them, intentional listeners actively seek songs that align with their values and contribute positively to their lives. They understand that music can inspire courage during difficult times, provide comfort during seasons of grief, motivate personal growth, and strengthen positive beliefs. They view music as something that can enrich life rather than simply fill silence. One practical way to become more intentional is to pay attention to lyrics. Ask yourself what the song is encouraging you to believe or celebrate. Does it promote respect, love, honesty, and self-control? Or does it glorify attitudes and actions that lead people away from those values? Another helpful step is to evaluate how a song affects your emotions and behavior. After listening, do you feel uplifted, encouraged, and motivated to become a better person? Or do you feel consumed by negativity, anger, temptation, or unhealthy desires? These questions can reveal whether certain music is helping or harming your personal growth. It is also important to remember that trends should not determine your choices. A song may have billions of streams and still communicate harmful ideas. Popularity is not a reliable measure of value. True wisdom comes from evaluating content carefully rather than blindly following the crowd. Choosing music intentionally sometimes requires going against popular culture, but it also allows you to maintain control over what influences your thinking. Ultimately, what you listen to every day becomes part of your mental environment. The songs you repeatedly hear can reinforce beliefs, shape habits, and influence decisions. By being intentional about your music choices, you protect your mind, Strengthen your values and create space for messages that encourage growth, wisdom, and positive character. The goal is not simply to avoid harmful influences, but to fill your life with music that inspires you to become the best version of yourself.